Ironheart, issue number 6, also known as Champions issue 4.5. This was a team-up style book with her and who else? Miles Morales, Spider-Man. You know you're not really Spider-Man when you gotta call him Miles Morales before his name. I'm just saying. Peter Parker is the one and only true Spider-Man from Earth 616 at least. This guy needs a new name. I like what they're doing with him in Champions when they're calling him the second Spider. They should continue that just like on all books, because Second Spider sounds pretty good. I'd like to see a storyline. This has nothing to do with Riri, but I'd like to see a story where Miles loses his mom, loses his dad. Ain't no need for a secret identity anymore. Because all this superheroes going to school and living a normal life, so why anymore? You know what? You're a part of this huge universe that's been having superheroes since Captain America in the 40s. Just embrace it and say, that's my path. School is for people who want to go to class to have a future in a certain field. You have your field. You're doing this for the rest of your life. Super strength? Regardless, Ironheart. So it starts off with like a little scene in the trees. She's out in the forest. And we'll get to that moment exactly. Nothing too special to get there, but the writer wanted to be different and throw in something. And this was a different style book from the rest of the issues. It is still one of those contained stories, like you can read it, pick up issue 6 if this is the first book I've ever read of Ironheart, kind of get who she is. Yeah, it's all there, beginning to end, all in one issue. And this is the 6th time that the writer has done this for this series, which is great. I like that. Can you imagine what happens when it's like, okay, when Eve Ewing just goes in and just writes a super mega story where it's just long and it has all the bumps and oh, I can't wait for it. I'm a fan of what this writer is doing with this comic book and with what she did with Ms. Marvel in the team up. I'll get to that part because there's something that reminded me of the Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man team up. So the meat of the comic book begins with Ironheart speaking to Kamala. I should say Ms. Marvel, she's still disguised up because she has a secret identity. Kinda, she told her friends. Some people know. But look in the background, you can see that the date is February, Chicago, February 13th. So out she goes, sending her on this mission to find Miles. Now, Ms. Marvel and Miles aren't getting along. What happened in Champions, which you should be reading, is that the devil... Oh, Ms. Marvel died. And the devil said, I'll resurrect her, Miles. And he did so. But the thing is, when he rewinded time to resurrect her, Miles was supposed to save a citizen, just a regular citizen, but he didn't. So that person died for the sake of Kamala. That was, that's the conflict that they have. And so he quit the team over it. As she agrees to do this job, Natalie, her AI, says, she's right though, I thought you and Miles don't really get along. I never got that indication in issue number 600 of Iron Man. I saw them both see each other, mask off, and I didn't feel any animosity towards them. I thought they fought together. I read all my Champions. I didn't know that there was a hatred or anything between him and her. There's even a flashback where they first meet each other, and it's all friendly and joyful. I didn't think that they had any problem with each other, but hey, I know Riri is kind of the antisocial. Remember her first appearance on Champions, which I've been reading. I've been reading up on all my Riri because of that video diary I promised you, which, should have been up by now, but you can't pressure me and you can't force greatness, so wait for that. It'll probably be up this week. So they've met each other, they know each other, and they're cool. It's just that Riri doesn't open up to folks. Only friend she ever had was Natalie, and then Deja took her as a mentor. Who else has she really bonded with? Tony Stark, not really, because she's been with his artificial intelligence the whole time. She fangirled over Mary Jane Watson, and she fangirled over Pepper Potts, but it's not like she ever had a true friend. Xavier King is another person. He's just like, you see, she's single still, and she doesn't really have feelings and love for him. She kind of says something like that to her AI, because as she's doing the search for Miles Morales, it says over here from Natalie, and Natalie's just joking, man, the day you get your first crush on someone, pray for us all. And if Riri programmed Natalie with all her memories and everything, she probably would have let Natalie know that she's got a crush on Xavier King. Or would she withdraw that because it's too personal? You know what? You can go anywhere with that story if you're the writer, so I'm not even going to cement them into this. So maybe she does like Xavier King. My brain, ladies and gentlemen. So we get to where they get to. It's upstate New York the next day, and little Miles Morales is sitting in a vacation house of his friend. Whether it's Genki or whether it's, I don't remember Miles' friends, his cast. But I like what happens here. Look, page turn. From here to here. It's kind of like a fun house. You see how it's the same kind of thing? I can digitally post these. So you see how they're changing and it's like the same frame of Miles Morales standing? I like how cool that looks. It's unique and different. It's showing versatility from this comic book writer. Now is when I'll get into Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man. That issue #1 of that team up book, you could flip the story beginning with Ms. Marvel or start over and read the book from the perspective of Spider-Man, and in the middle of the comic book is when it all meets up. And another thing she's been writing in this comic, which was really sick, was that they went and continued on with the story of Superior Spider-Man, where Dr. Octopus takes over Peter's mind, and it's Doc living in Peter's body. Well, they made a thing about there's a chip inside Peter's head that he planted in there, which is why the body swap that's been happening with Ms. Marvel and Peter Parker, that's why it's all wonky, because of something that happened, issue 700, which was like 2011 or so, or 13, I think it was. So I like how the writer Eve Ewing, who's writing that book, used something from the past and rewarded us for remembering that happened, or for even reading that in the first place. Hey, continuity matters. Here it is. It's what she did in issue #2 of that comic book. They had another continuity matters moments here, because when the villain shows up, which I'll get to, you'll see that Miles Morales coming from another universe, still matters. She is a student of Brian Michael Bendis, because that's the dude who Brian Michael Bendis was like the only guy who remembered Miles Morales is from another universe. Everyone else seems to pretend that he's just been here the whole time, and I prefer the latter, where Secret Wars happened, and that hamburger that he gave the Molecule Man, what's Owen Reese, Molecule Man, matters and happened. So she sits him on the couch. He makes a complaint about her, about that armor's been outside. And my favorite part of the comic book happens, where the suit automatically goes back into her body. That just happens in every comic, and I love it. So Miles believes her, which is really sincere and nice. That building blocks of that friendship. Straight up just believes what she had to say. And the solution was that she blasted the wall. She tried to figure it out. This is a unique mystery that's been happening, and it's far left from what we've been reading in her comics. So good to see that they solved the problem with intelligence again. Look, the doorknob is what starts this cycle. So logically, she just gets the wall, and there it goes. And he complains about it to her, like, yo, that's not how insurance works. And she just says, look, if they have vacation house money, they have new door money. And yeah, that justified the violence or the destruction. The villain who is watching her, is doing some studies on the two of them. Says, I've been watching you, la 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 long. No, he didn't say that. But Miles is emitting faint quantum signatures typical of interdimensional travelers. That is what I'm talking about. Everything that you read about Miles Morales, if you're a fan of him, you're just like, oh, okay. And again, it's also a new villain that's unique. I've never seen this villain before, so if I'm wrong, that's what the comment section is for. Tell me who he is and stuff. But this is a brand new villain that we're adding to the Rolodex, or the roster of villains for Ironheart. And as a person who reads Ms. Marvel doesn't have this. She's got that internet person, but she also had like 50 issues. So in 50 issues, we got like an internet villain. We've got the genius dude who's in that rooster costume. It's like, nah, I'll take Midnight's Fire, who is an old villain, and I'll take this villain over that. I feel like Ironheart's winning the contest right now between her and Ms. Marvel. And she's a better fan of superheroes than Ms. Marvel. So we get to the fight scene. It's explained that there's a small-scale STPS, small-scale space-time portals, and that's what we're working with, as well as this guy can go giant and wreck them. I like the fighting here. I love the way that portals were used, how a thwip would go inside of one end, get him on the other side. Really smart, really visually appealing. Shout out to the artist, because I'm sure he looked at the write-up that the writers have to give to them, and he's like, what the portals? But he went ahead and made it work. I understood what was going on, even though the next page, Riri or Miles, one of the two, I forget, explains what just happened in the previous photos. As I was reading the photos, looking at the photos. You don't read photos. I was like, yeah. That's what's happening with this portal. That's the power that Miles has. It all made sense to me. So cool. Good on Kevin Labranda. Hey, between you and me, I never liked that Vecchio guy anyways. That's not true at all. So they whoop this guy's ass. And it ends with him going through the portal, and kind of getting stuck in a endless cycle, which they joke around about. We get a quiet moment with Miles and Riri, where like she can't even look at him because she's kind of shoot, there's a word for it. Where does it say? Antisocial, where she's explaining, yeah, we're friends, and friends check on each other, and she can't even look him in the eye. That's relatable. I do that too. I don't really look I'm looking at a camera right now, but I can't look in someone's eyes for too long because then it means like emotional connection, and well, I gotta commit to a relationship with you, whether it's at work or anywhere. I'm not an eye looker, so I can relate to that. A lot about this character I can relate to, and you can relate to if you're not a comics gator. The book ends, and is there anything I'm forgetting to add to this review? Yeah, Miles just said it always seems like you don't like me. They end up being friends, and she's like, you just better not go quiet on us, don't go ghost, and you gotta send us texts. Fine. So she's good with the Wasp. I know she and Braun had a little moment in Champions, which I'm showing you on the screen right now. So I mean they're bonding over that. Plus it was the Wasp, Braun, and Ironheart who created that Champions mobile bunker. It was Riri's plans, but you know the three of them did that and put it together. So I think she's fine with them. Ms. Marvel, I believe she's fine with based on the beginning of the comic. I guess she's not good with Nova, but we'll get there. She's gaining friends to her roster, and I hope that we build on this more, and the Champions can kind of get there. Because right now it's Avengers and X-Men living all the way up here, way off camera shot, and then we got like the rest of Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four are part of that crew, no doubt. I'm loving the Dan Slott comic book right now with Fantastic Four. Mwah. And I can't believe I forgot them. I don't deserve. So like the Champions would probably be in 4th place. The Unfantastic 4th place. I don't care about the Runaways, and I don't care about those other team books. I like the Champions though. So the next issue is advertised that she'll be teaming up with the Wasp, and it'll be all zombies. That might be the deal breaker for me, because I've been loving this series so far, which I haven't graded yet. I give this comic book an 8 out of 10. Smart, great, and I'll give a credit to the writing over the art. But thank you for watching this whole video. You know what to do at the end of these. I'm not going to beg.